All right, we're here to talk about this cool Starfall hilt. It's sort of a bit of an Obi-Wan mashup that Nick did with an exposed crystal chamber, so that's always in view. So let's hop down to the table. We'll check out the internals, we'll talk about the chassis, and then we'll go over a couple functionality things, and then we'll hop back out. I'll show a few blade styles and fonts, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, we're here to talk about this recently completed Starfall commission. This is a kind of a vintage looking Obi-Wan-ish-esque saber with a crystal reveal, so you'll always see the crystal. You've got two Phil Guinness Kalimian Custom Sabers brass tactile switches. On the left side is your main, right side is your aux, and you have a Shtok V3 neopixel emitter. To get to everything, the grip just unscrews here right below the crystal chamber. And this is, I think Nick said this was a built from some TCSS parts. So this threading, it's one of the smoothest feeling threading couplers that I've felt. Anyway, so here's the custom chassis. It's a press fit. So features a Proffie V2, configs on the SD card, and then on the reverse, you've got a quick access to your kill switch. So if you had the grip on, you'd only have to remove, the first ½ inch if you wanted to turn on and off the saber. It does come with a custom wrapped battery, 18650. So here's the battery tray, Starfall logo, positive towards the top, spring side's your negative. So when you go to put this in, you just kind of want to grip the saber. You don't want to yank out. It's a press fit with a little bit of glue, so it's not going to just pull out on you, but you don't want to put too much force on it. So what I like to do is just kind of use my extra fingers here to grip. So yeah, 28mm bass speaker from the Saberbay, and that's about it. So just some cool little greeblies here, embossed patterns, debossed patterns with some circuitry, and kind of it's a cool Alliance logo here. So yeah, the Proffie is a press fit, so you don't need to flip it up because you've got plenty of space for a 90-degree USB cable. And then you can pull your SD card out with some tweezers. But if you needed to, you could flip it up to get access to anything if you don't have those devices, and then just press it back down. Over time, that may wear out. So if that's something that the owner eventually needs to do because they don't have the 90-degree cable and tweezers, then just know you'll probably end up putting some E6000 so that the board stays in place. But everything's a nice fit. So when we're ready, we can flip the kill switch. Got our boot sound. You can see our crystal pulsating. This does feature the Starfall font package, 8 fonts, or I should say presets. There are some extra free fonts on the SD card, but none of the presets are set up to use them. So if you did want to use them, you'd either use the onboard edit mode. This does feature Proffie OS 7.7, but all of the blade styles are still 6.9. So edit mode is turned on. I'm not going to go over that in this video. I'll have a printout for the owner, and they can review that with a link to the FET263 prop file where he'll explain all the options. But the only special features that are turned on at the moment for gesture controls are twist on, twist off, and thrust on. And I'll demonstrate that with the blade in. And then when you engage those features, you'll start in battle mode, and battle mode just means you don't have to use a button to engage lockups. And again, I'll show that with the blade in. So if we want to advance fonts, we'll hit the aux button in the off state. If we need to go backwards, we just point the hilt down and hit aux, right? And then in the off state, if you hold power for a second, you'll get your track. And then do it again to turn it off. You can do that with the the blade on. You just have to make sure the saber is upright, fully vertical. Otherwise, you'll just, when the saber is when it's ignited, you'll just get a force effect. Again, I'll show that with the blade in. But we'll just go through a couple crystal animations here while it's in the off state. So in all the off states, generally speaking, they're pulses. And then the PCB that I used with accent pixels is a 4 15-15 array. So instead of just a single super bright, same as your blade LED, you've got 4 mini pixels. So the animations for the on state kind of do a rotate. Here, I'll ignite it real quick and we'll see. And it may show up a little subtle, but basically it's just winding around the 4 pixels. So you get all of the deficiencies in the crystal, and that's probably washing out. But you'll see that better in person. So when we're ready to get going, we just screw the grip back on. This does take a 7/8 blade with plenty of deep blade socket there. Your set screw for your blade is right here, and I believe this is a 1032 set screw. Nick will have an Allen key provided. The 832 set screw here is for the neopixel holder, so just don't mess with that. And other than that, you'll be ready to go. But yeah, so we can do our twist on, twist off, thrust on, so forward motion in parallel. You can see the neopixels going there. This will just mimic what the blade does.
Hero's Journey.
Get some other crystal animations here. I don't know how well that's shown up on camera, but it will respond to blasters, clashes, and lockups. So, and then turn it off. Ruin is a little bit different in that instead of an on-off, so like the pixels are lighting up, it's always red, but then there's an amount of yellow that rotates around, so it kind of looks a little bit more animated. And again, this will show up better in person, but in the off state, it's just pulsing red.
Reconcile.
So this is the last preset Corn Horn. I did do something to mimic the blade. The Corn Horn blade style uses a color change direct. So it's the only one that you won't be able to just edit the colors. You can if you get into edit mode, and again, I'm not gonna go into edit mode, but it'll just automatically switch between a purplish and a white. So right now it's in white, but if we ignite it, and then we do our color change, you can see that in the blade there. Hold aux tap power, and now it switches to a light purple. And that may not show up well in the camera, but I'll show it with the blade in. But just wanted to kind of keep the crystals in line with the blade. And then our last
battery level
preset is a battery level indicator. On the blade, there will be a bubble that goes from the tip to the hilt. So at the tip, it'll be blue or green. And then as the battery degrades over time, it'll get closer to the emitter and it'll turn to a red. Now the crystal will just go from green to red. So right now we're pretty green, which means we've got a fairly full charge. And then
Starfall.
we're back around. So again, when we're ready, we'll turn the Saber 180, pull the grip, undo the threads, just open until we get our kill switch. And now we're ready to store. Now the accent pixels are set to turn off after 15 minutes. It's not a full deep sleep, but it will allow you to kind of display the saber And then after about 15 minutes, you'll need a button press to wake it up. And the gesture controls won't work while it's in that deep sleep. So there will be a parasitic drain on the battery if you do leave it on. So over, I don't know, the course of several days, maybe weeks, depending on the charge, if you forget about it, you'll start hearing beeping noises in the other room from where you store your saber. And, you know, that's what the kill switch is for. So you can just turn it on and off and then always have a fresh battery ready to go. Or if you need to, you can just pop the battery out, put a brand new one in, and you're good to go if you're on the con floor or something like that. So I hope that covers it for this saber. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, this is going back to Nick. I don't know who the buyer is on this, but he will share this video with that person. So I hope you enjoy it. So we're going to jump into the blade. I'll go over a few of the fonts and some of the button commands, but again, anything I don't cover will be on a printout for the owner. Thanks for checking it out. Okay, so we've talked about the internals. We've gone over a few of the design considerations and functionality. So now let's just talk presets. Right now, I'm on the battery level indicator, which is the last preset. So we can see on the blade, we've got a blue bubble and it's almost to the tip. This is a 32-inch KR pixel stick. It is a 7/8 diameter blade. So that will be what you'll need to get. So this is a fully charged battery. And again, at the crystal chamber, this will go from green to red. As this degrades in battery life, you'll see this bubble come down to here and it will change from this blue to maybe yellowish to red. And then at some point, the speaker will start crackling. So that'll be your first indicator that it's time to charge the battery. So to move forward in presets, we just hit the aux switch in the off state. Now we're on the first preset. This does sport the Starfall font package, and that's 8 fonts. There's some extra free fonts on the SD card if the user decides they want to learn some extra features with edit mode. Again, that'll be on a printout. I'm not going to go over that, but you'll have some extra fonts to play with. And again, that's just on the SD card. So right now, we'll just light it up. And so we can do that either with our main or with a gesture control. When we use our main, we're just going to be in regular mode, right? So clashes, or just clashes, right? But when we want to engage a lockup, we have to hold either aux or power as we clash. And now we're in a lockup until we let go of the button. Now, if we decide to use gesture control, we'll be in battle mode. So use twist on to ignite. So now we're in battle mode. Now a clash will engage a lockup until we pull away. So, and then, aux for blaster box. To go to a next font, just hit aux. And so if we wanted to start a track, we'd hit the power button for 1 second. I did show this close up. But if the saber is ignited and we want to start the track, then we'll need to be upright. So let's go ahead and start the saber, right? So if we were to use the main for a second, but we're not up, we're gonna hit a force effect. And on this font, it's a quote. On some of the Starfall font collections, it will be a mix between quotes and sound effects. Some are only quotes, some are only effects. So you'll just find out when you get the saber. But if we wanted to start the track, we'll need to be upright, and we'll do that same thing. Hold power for 1 second. So now we've got our track playing. To turn it off again, we'll need to be upright. Otherwise, again, we'll hit, oops, didn't hold it long enough. Otherwise, we'll get a force effect. So that one was a sound effect. So this one has a mix. So move on to the next one, Infinium. This is their Mace Windu color blade. It'll be purplish. Looks a little washed out on my screen, but if you see it up against the wall, you'll see it's a little bit purplish. Probably better showing up in the crystal. But, right. So in battle mode, if we wanted to do stabs, melts, I should say, then we would ignite our saber, but we'd need to be horizontal. And then we'd clash when we're in a horizontal position. There we go. And rotate, get a different color, and then the longer you hold it, the more activated it gets. until you pull away. Now to do that in regular mode, you'll need to hold a button in Clash. There we go. Same goes for drag. We'll just need to be pointed down. All right.
Hero's Journey.
So if we wanted to color change, now we do have edit mode, so you can read the printout and you can go in and edit all of their various features in terms of blast colors, clash colors, and all that. But otherwise, we'll just hit, sorry, he gets nervous when I do these demos. We'll hit aux and tap power. You'll get into the color wheel and then just jump through. And if you find a color you like and you want to accept, you hit power. Now I'm not going to because this is programmed per Nick's request. And then to just back out, we'll hit aux. So again, to accept, we'll hit power. To revert, we'll hit aux. And then to get into that is hold aux, tap power. Okay, and you'll get that. Right. But I'm not going to change it. So, a couple more things to note. Preons. Now, I've programmed the blade styles if you want to duplicate them to have the option of preons, but the only one that is turned on right now, again, you'll have to get through that edit mode to do all that, but the only one that currently has it programmed is Ruin, and the only way to get the preon is to ignite with the power button. If we use our gesture controls, we're going to bypass it. So it's a short animation, but you saw that there at the emitter. Let's do it one more time. So my hand was in the way. So again, we'll just tap power. Get a preon. Now, if we gesture control, we're going to bypass that. It just goes right into our ignite. Okay?
Reconcile.
We'll just turn this one on. So we get a yellow blade. This one's a blue blade. Okay, so the last thing to note, again, and I did kind of show this up close with the crystal, is color change is direct on this. So you won't get into the color wheel. It will just go from white to purple. So we ignite it up, hold aux, tap power, and then we wipe to purple. Now, it may not show up that great on screen, but both the crystal and the blade will show what the color is. And then we'll jump back and go to white. So hopefully you can see in the background that the ambient color changes a little bit. Okay? And wherever you leave off, the Saber will save that. So you can, turn the battery off or pull the plug. But if you've changed the color, it will remember all that. It won't revert for you. So that being said,
battery level.
We're back on our battery level indicator, and that will wrap it up. If you have any questions, let me know. And thanks for checking it out.